All right. Good morning, guys. So excited to be here with you Thursday morning. Thursdays is my favorite day of the week because of what we do here. I get to hang out with all of you guys in the real estate industry. So super excited. I'm here with my co-host Ray,
Hi guys,
who's
good
just
morning.
there you go. I was gonna wondering if he was gonna say anything. All right, so um, kind of a couple of housekeeping. If you can turn your camera on, please do so. There are a few exceptions to that. We want you to be fully clothed, and if you are driving, we want you to be safe above all. But other than that, we don't care if you've done your hair and your makeup or if you're eating breakfast. On the on the West Coast, it is only 7 a.m. So we don't care about any of that. Just turn your camera on so that we can see you and start building relationships. That's what this call is all about. We do some education and then we go into breakout rooms and build some relationships. So this morning, Ray is going to talk about runway, right, Ray? That's the topic.
That's the topic, guys. You got to listen to me drop some spiel.
All right, go, Ray. It's all yours.
All right, good morning, everybody. For those of you that are new, welcome. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us today. For those of you that invited new friends, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that you guys are sharing, trying to help people make an impact, get everybody as educated and make the best decisions for them as possible. I spent the majority of my life making products, 450 different products across 12 different vertical markets, while passively being a real estate investor in and out of a couple thousand transactions across 14 states. COVID hit, lost everything, had to pivot, make changes, said I'm going into real estate full time for the next 10 years. Here we are today. So we do a bunch of things, right? We have a massive Facebook group. We do these events every Thursday. Following this at 2 p.m. EST, we have another webinar where we're going to break down the anatomy of a lead. We'll drop a link in for that to register for that webinar before we hang up today. And Debbie and I like to make as much of an impact as possible with all the agents out there. Like, we believe that the real estate education system is broken. Go to real estate school, get your license, and they push you out of a plane without a parachute, right? Good luck. Have at it. You don't know what to do next. You didn't realize you just became a CEO, a marketer, the janitor, all that kind of good stuff. So, what I wanted to do today is just talk about runway. We just transitioned into February. We have 10 and 3/4 months left in the year. And I kind of want to do a check-in with where everybody's at in their business. And, when I say the word runway, what does it mean to you? So guys, let me know in the chat. When I say give yourself runway, what does that mean to you? Drop it in the chat. We're going for engagement here, guys. Room to grow. I love it, Charles. Awesome. Forward thinking, preparing for takeoff. Love it, Phyllis. Awesome, Samantha. Growth, fill the pipeline. Yes, Jeff, I love it. Have no idea. All right, Priscilla, we'll fix that. A path ahead. Yeah. So I'll tell you my message, and then I'm gonna pick on some of my other friends here, like Trina and Monica, to talk about this. I was used to planning when I was in the product business, right? Because all the products that I ever released, we designed, engineered, manufactured ourselves. We had manufacturing in all over Asia, Singapore, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, Japan. We had manufacturing in Israel, manufacturing in Germany. And when you're creating a product and you're launching it, you have to give yourself runway. And when COVID hit and I had to pivot and make changes, the curriculum I built to coach agents was about creating a roadmap of a path forward. And this goes for everything in your business. This goes for planning. This goes for setting it up foundationally. This goes for lead generation. This goes for marketing. This goes for filling up your pipeline and the ability to keep showing up and have conversations with people. And I always say that there's 3 C's in the real estate business, okay? And it's the 3 C's of communication. You want to communicate, you want to connect, and then eventually you're going to convert. And that conversion piece looks different for everybody. It could be an opt-in to a newsletter. It could be a new contact in a database. It could be a transaction. It could be a listing appointment. Whatever the case may be for how you're going to measure your conversions. So going back to runway, if a plane doesn't have enough runway to take off, it's going to fall short. Maybe it stops, maybe it crashes, God forbid. Whatever the case is going to happen. But beginning with the end in mind of allowing yourself space to get to where you want to go really takes stresses off of you and what you're trying to do so you can make better decisions. So Monica Edwards, where did you go? Are you still with us?
Right here, my friend.
All right.
I love that analogy. You're the bomb, Ray.
Runway. Let's talk about it. Like, it's not your first rodeo. You failed many times, right?
Yeah.
I know about your businesses. I know what you do today. Share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's really powerful, Ray. And I love the analogy, right? Because if you don't have a path to get there or it's too short, it's really your backup plan. And it goes back to what I call the Eisenhower matrix, which is a runway will make the things that you need to do on a consistent basis, right? Through your roadmap, so that those things like lead gen are always important but never urgent. If you don't have that roadmap or that runway and you're not doing the things to get you to where you want to go, they will become urgent. Why do they become urgent? Because you're broke. That's what I'm thinking for I love that analogy, the runway.
I love it. Awesome. Trina.
Well,
So you guys, Trina's been in our world for many years now, and she's went through a bunch of different workshops, our programs, all of that stuff. Trina, let's talk about runway. What does it mean to you, and how has this analogy helped you in your business?
it gives you room to take off and room to give yourself grace to do the things that you need to do, because as you move forward, you're going to fail, and that's okay. But that gives you room to just keep on going and then take off and do what you need to do.
I love it. Chris Dowell, I'm glad you're here. It's nice to see you, man. I want to talk about runway. Like, you are very aggressive in your business and you've been doing this a really long time. What are some decisions that have helped you allow yourself space to build, to work on your business, to let yourself recover, right, from health things that you've went through?
Well, I have a team that I do what I do. My marketing, my presentations, and I have a team that does all the behind the scenes stuff for me, and so it allows me to do what I like to do, and so forth like that.
So that didn't happen overnight. You had to build that over time, right?
Oh, it'll take about 12 years, 13 years, something like that. Yeah.
That's a lot of runway, right? That's
Right.
it's a lot of runway to get there.
Right.
And guys, my whole point in having this conversation is that a lot of times we come into the new year, we set ridiculous goals for ourselves. I think Tony Robbins says we underestimate what we can do in a day, or underestimate what we can do in a year, but overestimate what we can do in a day, right? So as we start going into February, and then of course we start to have distractions. We have Valentine's Day, we have snow days. Chicago's all iced over right now. We have all these other things happening. We get distracted from what we're doing. And that piece of runway, when you allow yourself to just take a deep breath, step back a little bit, and kind of reassess where you are and allow yourself to reposition yourself to make better decisions based upon the outcome that you want, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to feel better about where you are and where you're trying to go. It's when we forget where we're going and we're so focused on reacting, not responding to the now, that we lose sight of what we're trying to build. All right, so before we start talking about some other things, who else wants to talk about runway and how they feel and what that word means to them? Do I have any volunteers here? Raise your hand in the chat or the on video if you know how to do that. Anybody? I'm going to pick on Anne. Yes, please.
Yeah, I just think when I hear the word runway, it's like preparation, right? Getting yourself prepared right? Instead of looking a lot of people always, when you're dealing with real estate, they're looking at that end goal, right? Whether it's selling a house, buying a house, investment property, or whatever have you, the end goal. But like you said, whether it's a roadmap or a runway, you got to prepare yourself to get to that point. So that's what came to mind when I heard the term.
I love it. Thank you for sharing, Ann. Danny, you're up, bud.
I think of it as a focus, right? A runway isn't windy, it doesn't branch off. It's just one line. It's straight, so it's focused. How do you do that? It took a lot of time for somebody to design an airport, to design the runway, the materials that go into it. Kind of bringing in a little bit of my engineering background. The materials, it can't be too it's got to be strong because these are planes that are going on it. So your runway's got to be robust, and then you got to stay on it. It's got to be focused. It's got to be a path forward. Because once that plane goes, it's going and it's going to take off. If there's problems, yeah, you have to circle around. You're not stopping in the middle of the runway, hopefully.
I love that analogy. And I also think it's interesting when you start thinking about airplanes and runways because it's on this linear path. It goes, it takes off, but yet all the way to its destination, it's constantly course correcting, right? Like airplanes are off course like 90% of the time. It's always course correcting based upon weather, wind, all these other things that come up. But thanks for sharing, Danny. Terrell, you're up next.
So kind of tagging on to what everybody else has been saying, I think of it as intention. So we're at point A, we want to be at some other point, and a lot of course correcting along the way, but still aiming for that same end result. And whether it's, whether it's a diet or whether it's working out or whether it's reading, any of that, it's all, it all is contained in intention. If you have no intention, it's like, well, let's see how it works out, or hope. I always say hope is a very bad business model. Well, I hope I can do it. It's just like, no, you have to make that intention that is almost bodily in us to do whatever it is we decide to do versus, and because particularly in our businesses is that there's so many silver balls, so many
Shiny objects.
Yeah. And the quick fixes, and we're going to get all this done very quickly, but it's like, go back to your intention. I'll just relate to I was in Dublin, Ireland, running the marathon there, which is its own insanity, but that's beside the point. And it was very difficult because it was cold and rainy, and I'm a SoCal gal. Cold and rainy is not part of my life, so, and I was having muscle spasms and so on. And I said, well, I could stop. I was at about mile 8. I said, well, I could stop. And I kept saying to myself, that is not why you came here. That is not why you came here. You came here to finish this marathon. And by God, I did. So that's just the intention. So that's.
I love that. Yeah, I love that word. Great pairing. Thank you. Charles, you're up.
Hey, morning. So, I started off, with Runaway saying like it's room to grow. And then I thought about what my broker told me, and all of us actually, I'm one of those people who have a job, and I'm doing loans on the side. That's like my side hustle, but it's my next transition, my next career I'm trying to get to. And I started thinking about that, and runway to me now means you got to go, right? You can't half-ass it. You can't put your foot in one and put your foot in the other one, but then you're not going to give it enough attention to really go. And so that runway now to me means if this is what you want to do, you need to get on there, go to the middle, and just go.
I love it. Yeah, you can't sit there because another plane's going to move you out of the way, right? Like that's what's going to happen. That's awesome. Thank you, Charles. Carla.
I was thinking about Runway as just a plan so you don't run out of money before your real estate career takes off. And so that's referring to more like the amount of time we have to build our business before we need it to be financially self-sustaining. So that period of time during which we're investing time, money, and resources into getting established before we start seeing consistent income, I should say.
Yeah, I love that. I would say 99% of agents aren't doing that, right? Like You either decide to become a real estate agent for a variety of reasons, or you're forced into a situation where becoming a real estate agent is low hanging fruit. And usually it's like, well, you can make money. So yeah, let's go and do that. And all of those things are accurate, but they all come with their own set of challenges or, places of resistance, if you will. So it's no different than a startup. Like that's where the Startup Agent, my first book, came from. It's the ability to think and give yourself runway as a startup while also being boots on the ground, doing guerrilla marketing, knowing that you have very little cash to throw at your business. And how can you get there as fast as possible while checking all the boxes, right? Because there's no shortcuts. You have to stop thinking you're already going to be there. Like there's a pathway that everybody has to take. Some people do go through the path faster than others. Maybe they have better connections. Maybe their husband's established. Maybe their wife's established, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I love that. Runway, that's absolutely perfect. All right, cool.
I have one.
Who's talking?
Rodrigo.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I have one. What Charles said, just take off. Yes, you have to take off, but you have to know where you're going. And for that, you kind of need some education. Now, don't get into the mood of studying everything and not doing anything, because a lot of people do that. You got to know where you're going. You need personal development, because especially when you are starting your business, you got to choose who you're going to be with. Because if you're like Sunday, for example, Super Bowl, everybody wants to party. Now you have to make a decision. Do you have a meeting to go? Are you in the position to actually go to the party, or you still have to make money and grow your business? Eventually, those times will come, but in the beginning, sometimes you have to suffer. Remember, the other people, they have a job, they go to work tomorrow, they make the same amount of money every 2 weeks, and dies right there. Because on the runway, when a place passes 100 knots, you have to take off. You can't stop the plane, and if you don't have your tools, you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
Ray, I want to chime in on that as well.
Yeah, hold on real quick, Phyllis. Rodrigo,
Okay.
you said something about sacrifice, and that's a mindset. Like you don't have to sacrifice. You could look at that as an investment, right? It can be an investment in your business, an investment in yourself, an investment in your family. I tie this across the board. If my wife and I have a set date night, regardless of the situation, we figure out how to spend time with each other, whether it's at home with the kids upstairs or going out to eat or going to get ice cream or whatever it is. That's an investment in each other we're making. When my kids come to me and I have all this work to get done or these other obligations, but say, Dad, will you play basketball? Maybe I don't spend an hour, but maybe I spend 15 or 20 minutes. I'm making an investment in them. It's the same for your business, right? It's the same for each other. It's the same about all of us showing up here today, right? Like this email to join us this morning went out to 185,000 plus people. Only you guys showed up, right? So you guys are making an investment in yourselves and you're making an investment in us, which we're very grateful for to be here today, right? So it's the same for your business. Phyllis.
I feel the same way when it comes to investing in yourself. And I think about Runway, that's already prepared for us. So you're going to take, instead of trying to do it on my own and create a whole different runway, I want to take the path that other agents, other successful agents have taken and follow their example to actually grow my business. And realizing when you decide to do this full time, it is an actual business. So you need to create a foundation that's going to help you grow from there. And so getting coaching, getting the necessary training to help guide you, it has been paramount to, be able to be successful in being a real estate agent. It's not just you're an agent, you're actually a business owner. And like I said, this being my first 6 months full time has been incredible. It's like, okay, light bulbs went off. I'm like, this is serious. This is for real. This is how I'm going to be able to sustain myself. So it requires you putting in time to learn, the tricks of the trade, what it takes to build a business, and then what it takes to, whether it's the accounting part, whether it's, associating with people who have done it before and getting the necessary training that you need. It's very helpful to go to places like this, to meet with other agents to see what they've done to be successful to actually grow.
I love it. Thank you, Phyllis. All right, so we're going to do a couple things, guys. I'm going to drop a link to the full article I wrote. And then in that article, there's action items. So I'm going to copy and paste those, and we're going to use that for when we go into breakout rooms. Okay, so I'm going to drop this in the chat right here. And I know Debbie's probably setting up breakout rooms. And there's 3 things I mentioned here. It's scheduling dedicated white space. Okay, like give yourself room to think. I know for me, like we have 5 kids, we have 3 dogs, right? There's lots of demands on me, on my wife, on the kids for that matter. And giving yourself a little bit of space to think and make those decisions become important. So for me, that's Sunday evenings. I give myself 30 minutes to just look over my calendar for the week, figure out what I need to keep, what I need to cut, what's moving me forward, what's a distraction from what I'm actually trying to do. Okay, so that's number 1, schedule that dedicated white space. Number 2 is prioritize and delegate. We cannot do everything. What we should do is the 20% that gets us 80% of the results, whatever that means for your business, whether it's lead gen, whether it's writing blogs, whether it's going to meetings or having conversations, whether it's looking at lead gen options for your business that are maybe paid and not free to accelerate people coming into your funnel faster. And then the third thing is establishing clear goals. Like, what do you need to focus on? And I like to work in 3s. 3s are not overwhelming to me. So every night before I go to bed, I look at my calendar for the next day, say, what 3 things do I need to focus on? Now, I may have 6 meetings on my calendar, back-to-back Zooms. That's fine. I'm going to go to those. I'm going to do what I have to do. But number 1, are they moving the business forward with whatever I'm working on? And number 2, what are the 3 things I need to get accomplished that are most important to move the things forward that matter at the end of the day? So as we're going to breakout rooms, what I'd like to ask you guys is, what is one thing you can do today to give yourself some runway? Whether that's set a meeting with yourself, whether it's delete a meeting with somebody else, whether it's delegate something, whether it's stop doing this one thing so you can do these 2 other things over here. What does that look like? So that's going to be our lead-in question. Why we're doing that, I'm gonna pick on Raj, since he's a newbie and he builds houses from the ground up. Raj, let's talk about, like, what does this mean to you? If you're building a house from the ground up, I mean, dude, you got soil, you got permits, you got digging, you got infrastructure, you got utilities. What does this mean for you?
A lot of planning, a shitload of planning, pardon my French. I like to do a lot of my organizing at the night before the day proceeds. Believe it or not, 11 to 1 a.m. is when I'm really jotting stuff down, categorizing, like you said, utilities, soil, lumber, material, all that good stuff. So for me, believe it or not, the night before is very essential for my next day. And obviously what you said, Sundays is a good, good day to take time to get everything in order. But for me, it's a daily basis. I can't wait just for a Sunday. I got to do it every night because there's a lot of changes in my schedule.
Yeah, and you're managing contractors, and then trades don't show up, or there's a setback, the wrong material shows up, whatever the case may be, for sure.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for sharing.
All right, Ray, we're ready for breakout rooms. So what are their
Okay.
instructions for the first set?
All right, so what is one thing that you can do to give yourself some runway today? I'm gonna go ahead and
Right.
pause the recording, Debbie.
All right, Ray, talk to us about our runway roundup.
Yeah, guys, so just show of hands. Has this helped you be able to think about taking a step back and maybe a new approach to what you're doing? Yes or no? Yes? All right, good.
Definitely.
We had some success today. All
Definitely,
right,
yes.
David's waving his hand. If I got David to buy, I'm good.
Definitely.
All right, I see some hands up. Do you guys want to talk? Delise, Leticia, do you guys want to share? Or are you just putting your hand up to put your hand
I
up?
just was putting my hand up.
Okay, cool,
That was a
awesome.
mistake.
All right, so here's what I'll leave you guys with. Well, 2 things. Number 1, I want to drop a link to this webinar because it's the anatomy of a lead, so you can understand how a lead works and how to actually build a pipeline that can last you for years. And my third bucket from our room was finance. It was fitness, family, and finance. If you don't know or you're unclear on what your North Star is or what you're trying to accomplish, I got an exercise for you guys to go through. So you guys know I'm not a good artist, so I apologize in advance, okay? Hub and spoke model. Okay, this is just an example. You are the hub. Everything else you're trying to work on is a spoke, okay? Your spouse, partner, your family, your friends, your real estate business, all of that stuff revolves around you. So the question becomes, if you draw this, if you draw a circle, right, you in the middle of it, and you start drawing spokes, what are your priorities? And those priorities are going to tell you your North Star by default because it's what you're thinking about is most important to you. Okay. And you can review that list and figure out what does that look like on a daily basis? And then how do you schedule your time, your attention on your calendar to spend and focus on those things? Does that make sense? And guys, if you have any questions, just message us. Okay, just message us. All right, so we're going to do a couple things here as we wrap up. I'm going to drop a link to the webinar, you guys. So grab that link for the webinar. That's number one. Jeff, I see your hand up.
It's me, really. I'm
Nikkei.
Nikkei. Since my name isn't there, let me introduce myself. So I want to give a big plug to Virtual Coffee and how I needed this today. It's been a really rough couple of days. And to bring us back to the runway, we created a runway. We have it broken down by month, by week of kind of activities. The one part that we haven't been doing is to come back, reevaluate. How is it working? What are we doing? What should we do tomorrow? I actually got really emotional when you were talking about it because it's so supportive. And I want to just say this to everybody and let everybody know how much you guys are supporting us. It just is amazing. So thank you.
You are very welcome. And those words, they make me tear up. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Like that's the impact we're trying to do, guys.
What time is the webinar?
It is at 2 p.m. EST.
2 p.m. EST. Okay.
2 p.m. EST. It'll run an hour.
Pacific.
There will be a replay. So even if you can't make it, sign up for it. There'll be a replay.
So if you're Pacific, it'll be 11 a.m. Pacific.
Okay,
And
thank you.
you're welcome. I also dropped in there. We don't really promote this a lot, but I dropped in a link for our meeting tomorrow morning. If you are considering looking for a new brokerage, if you're not comfortable where you are, if you'd just like to see what's available and what's out there, Ray and I are doing a presentation, Jackie, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's in their brokerage-breakdown.com. Love to see any of you guys who would like to just visit what something else could look like. So
what's the brokerage?
we are with Epic Realty.
Oh, okay. I have one more question real quick because I'll put this in my link area. Is this link for leads all the time, every Thursday? Or is that the same link every Thursday for something else?
So the call that you are on right now is not necessarily a leads call. It is our virtual coffee mastermind.
Yes.
We do something educational and then we do our breakout rooms. And that is every Thursday morning. And since you're Pacific, it is 7 a.m. Pacific.
Right.
8, 9, 10 across the country. So yes, we are here every Thursday. Please come back and visit us.
Okay, I will. Not here. I do understand this link.
Ray's webinar.
There you go.
Yeah, no, that is not weekly. It is a one-time thing.
Okay, got it. So I'll delete it once I go today. That's what I wanted.
And guys, you'll see, like, we do a lot of webinars this year. We'll do an average of 3 to 4 a week. So just pay attention to your emails and you'll see all the options that you have.
We're really trying to bring you as much value and help you grow your business as much as possible. So
Thank you.
that's what these webinars are all about. So, all right, you guys, it is 9 o'clock straight up. So, and where I live anyways.
Save the chat before you, Danny.
Oh yeah, okay. I forgot about that. Our chat master is here. If you are on your phone and you cannot save the chat on your computer, let Danny know and he will email the chat to you. For anyone else, you know, you can save it by clicking on the 3 little dots beside where you type in for your chat, and it'll save to your computer.
Yes,
I just
absolutely.
uploaded it to you guys. You can grab it and download it.
I put my email also in the chat. Yeah, if you you can email me for the chat if you like, or scan my QR code to get in contact with me in case you don't put you're not able to put your email in before we time out.
Excellent. Perfect. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for
Bye,
being
guys.
here.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you
Thank
next
you
week,
all.
or we'll
Thanks,
see you this
guys.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk to
Bye-bye.
you, Danny.
All right.
See you later.
Please sign up for a 1-to-1 with me if you can. Love to get to know you all. Bye-bye.